Welcome to the Out on a Limb podcast. We are all interconnected to a greater web of consciousness. Our aim is to open your mind to a new world through having open-minded discussions about what we perceive our reality to be.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Out on a Limb podcast with your hosts, Will and Allison, where we are exploring the mysteries and the magic of Egypt. And this is our 6th and final episode in the Egypt series. Mm-hmm. The last one was talking to Dr. Jim Roach about our almost simultaneous trips. He went a month before we did. Yeah. There was a lot of magic that happened for all of us, and we were comparing notes. So if you haven't watched that or any of the other ones, feel free to do that, or you can watch them out of order. Yep. But this will be the last one, and we just wanted to wrap it up by talking about a few things that we didn't mention in any of the other ones. Just a few kind of odds and ends, things that we wanted to talk about that were notable. So we're going to talk about the animals of Egypt. We're going to talk about some of the channeled information that we received, not specific to us, but in general for humanity. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about the belly laughs, because we had a lot of belly laughs. One of the things that surprised me the most was how much I laughed. Yep. I don't know what I expected when I went to Egypt, but I didn't expect to laugh so much, really. I thought it would be just sort of history lessons and focusing on the energy and tuning in and all of that sort of stuff. But I literally laughed every day.
Yeah. I mean, there was plenty to laugh about, actually, because it was just
joyful laughs.
Joyful laugh.
Not laughing at anyone.
Right, not laughing at a circumstance or whatever it was, but just joyful, just being joyful. And everybody was really kind of in a joyful, mood. So it really helped. Yeah.
Right. So just recounting, I think we talked about a few of these in various episodes, but we talked about the bus accident. Right.
I think we alluded to it, or maybe we talked about it.
I think we did talk about the bus accident and how hysterical it was, and that we had Matt, our photographer friend, who was on our trip from Australia, and he was in the back of the bus narrating it. Yep. And giving the blow by blow and taking a few pictures, and it was just really comical, the whole thing. The 10 of us on camels, trucking away in a line towards the pyramid. Oh my gosh, just I keep using the word absurdity, but I don't mean it absurd in a negative way. I just mean, I can't think of a better word. Can you think of a better word?
No,
the unlikely happenstance of us all being in Egypt already was crazy. And then being on a camel in Egypt and then laughing.
Just seeing everybody getting up on a camel and just how everybody, some felt comfortable, some didn't. It was just right. It was it was just the kind of the
comical nature of the whole thing. I mean, camels are funny anyway.
Right.
And
they're all growling. They're making noise, they're gurgling, they're doing
making
different
faces, showing their teeth.
Right.
Not in a bad way, but showing their teeth. It was almost like they were smiling at us. But camels are just funny anyhow. And I didn't know this. I did not realize this till we got done. And Judy, our friend, said, I think it was her, mine was named Michael Jackson. And I was just talking to Michael Jackson the whole time, saying, thank you for letting me ride you and all of this. And I was trying to talk to my camel too about being in gratitude and making sure he knew he was loved. But I guess they all have names. I didn't know that. So I took a picture of mine and thanked him for his service when I got off, but I didn't catch his name. I didn't realize they had names. And some had the name sewn on the back.
I didn't know that.
Sewn on the back of their blanket that they were wearing. Oh. And interestingly, I've been watching a lot of Egypt YouTube videos of different people, travelogues and things like that. And I saw at least one, by the way. I don't think I told you. No. And they said, oh, his name's Michael Jackson. So I guess Michael Jackson gets around. Lots of tourists are riding Michael Jackson's back, which is crazy. But that was just comical and fun and joyful. Oh, and then our Felucca boat ride where we basically went an hour out. This was the first
half hour out,
half hour out and a half hour back, and just sort of slow circling and cold and bundling up and just laughing because the poor little guy didn't know what he was doing, or he couldn't do it by himself. He was trying.
He was struggling.
Oh my gosh. And then even the first night, our friend Matt that we talked about, who was coming in, I think he was coming in from Greece.
He was coming in from Greece.
So he didn't have a very long flight. And so he arrived late the first night. And we were trying to wait up for him in the hotel. And he was supposed to be in like 11. I'm like, okay, I can manage. So we're waiting until 11. By 11:30, he's still not showed up. Hadn't shown up yet. So we messaged him on WhatsApp. And I'm like, ask your driver, where are you? Like, it doesn't take but maybe 30 minutes to get from
30, 40 minutes,
the airport to and it's been an hour. And he couldn't understand what his driver was saying. And his driver, I don't know if his driver got lost or what happened, but anyway, he showed this video of himself with holding the camera out the window and the wind whipping his face. And it was like a party atmosphere. And he was just, everybody around him was, I don't know where he was or what was happening, but it was.
I don't think he got in the right bus, but I mean, there's a bus to pick you up. I don't think he got in the right bus.
I never did figure out what happened with that.
Yeah. But Matt, I mean, the funny thing was, there was always a story. Matt always had a good story. He'd make friends wherever he was and go off and do crazy things. It was just, he had a really good sense of just adventure and life itself. Yeah. And so that's really what he was out doing anyway, because he's taking a year to travel the
year-long
world,
journey.
Yeah.
And this was one of his first stops with us.
And when I think I mentioned it in one of the he didn't even know where he was going after Egypt. So he made those plans. Like one of the days on the bus, on one of our bus rides, he was making his itinerary to fly to Morocco, and then from Morocco to catch some dodgy little boat to go up to Spain, and I mean all kinds of stuff. So just it was fun. So
so there were so many moments of just laughing till tears. Joy. It was just joy, pure joy. Yep. But speaking of camels and animals, one thing we haven't talked about at all is the number of animals that we encountered, namely the most prolific of which were dogs and cats. Now it's interesting because if you see random stray dogs around here, it's quite different. Like they're sometimes skittish here in the United States, and they don't run in packs for the most part. I mean,
and they don't look well nourished. They look feral. I mean, that's,
Americans tend to grab them, and take them to the Humane Society so that they can either find their owner or get help or whatever. Right? It doesn't work that way in Egypt, but they weren't like being left to die or to be harmed or anything. All of the dogs that we encountered, and they did run in packs, but in kind packs, like they would just lay around, or they'd lay on top of buildings or on top of a car, or in the mosque, in the area of the mosque, they would lay there, and they looked well nourished. They seemed happy. It was almost like their own little microcosm of
society.
Dog society living amongst the humans almost in parallel. It wasn't like the humans really interacted with them much. The ones that paid attention to the dogs were the tourists like us. Were like, oh my gosh, what a cute dog. They were all kind of blonde also. And they all seemed like short hair, blondish, medium-sized dogs. Almost all of them looked the same. So I don't know if it was a particular type of breed or a particular type of mutt or something, but living in parallel. So they weren't interacting, like begging for food. Obviously, people were feeding them at some point, or they knew where to go for food. That wasn't like none of the dogs were fighting over the food with each other. They weren't begging humans under the table, except when one of the people in our group, who shall remain nameless, was feeding the dogs that were right there in the grass, and then they were coming under our table. But they didn't beg like normal dogs would beg for food, and you didn't feel fearful that you were going to get bitten or anything like that. Wasn't it odd?
No, they weren't. Yeah, they were as wild as they were. They were very domesticated. I mean, it wasn't like they were wild dogs. Like if you let one of your domesticated dogs loose and they run away, within a couple of months, they become wild and they really take on that wild nature. This wasn't the case. I mean, they were very comfortable in their environment. I mean, there were plenty of places where you'd see, a half a dozen of them just sunning themselves on the side of a little sand dune, and they were just all laying in the sun, or just in packs, like Allison said, in a little congregation of them. There was one in particular by the Alabaster Mosque that there was maybe 20 of them that were there. But they're just minding their business and not bothering anyone. And it was very nice. You didn't have to worry about them at all.
And they weren't domesticated to the point where they'd come over and want attention or pets or anything. It was just like they were just living their life, and humans are here and we're running in parallel societies, but it was like they didn't really need anything from us, and the Egyptians weren't looking for anything from them either. So it was real interesting. And then it was similar with cats. There were a lot of cats running free like that too.
Right.
And again, sort of just living in parallel. They didn't look like they had rabies or were sick. They were most of the time well-nourished.
Very well-nourished.
There, you would often see like a mom with some kittens and things like that. So they just seemed to be okay. And I know in watching some of the videos that I've seen, people do feed them and bring cans of food or whatever around in case they find some cats, and they'll put some food out on a tray. So I know they're getting fed, but usually when that happens, when humans are feeding animals, then the animals come around to where the humans are, and they want, and that they didn't do that. It was, but and the same token, they weren't running away from humans either. It was just just an odd way, hard to describe, but an odd kind of situation with them.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Just odd that I've not seen that kind of interaction.
Because we're not used to seeing that here in the States. Yeah.
I mean, it was comforting. It was nice to not be concerned about them. And I didn't see mistreatment of the dogs or cats either, which was nice. Okay, and then there were random donkeys. There were random camels, mostly on the plateau or places where you might want to take a ride.
Just right off the plateau, yeah.
But when we were driving on the bus, and it was nearing dusk, I guess, and they were closing the plateau, at the end of the day, you'd see these camels just walking down the street with their owners or something, going back to wherever they're.
Stables or wherever they keep them, yeah.
And then I think we saw like somebody on a motorcycle carrying a donkey, people riding donkeys pulling carts. So they use donkeys or mules in their business or in the work as well. I don't know if they used them as pets.
No.
Probably just in work and transportation,
work
right?
Animals, yeah.
Yeah. And then the interesting thing about the cats and the dogs, and we asked this in our last channeling, I think it must have been January's monthly channeling. We asked about this tidbit of information that we learned from Abdullah. In the Islamic religion, you have to wash. There's a washing purification ritual before you do the prayer. Now, if you do that at home and then you walk a short distance to the mosque or something like that, and you encounter a cat, and even if you pet the cat, you're fine. If you encountered or pet a dog, you'd have to do the washing ritual again. So I thought that was really interesting, why cats were okay, but dogs were not, in terms of cleanliness or purification purposes for religion. So I asked about that, and it was fantastic. And you can listen to the answer, because always the collective explains it better than I can. But essentially, cats are thought of as guardians of the expanse above the heavens and all of that sort of stuff. And dogs are more grounding, and they are the guardians of the earth.
The underworld. Yeah.
I wouldn't say underworld always gives kind of a negative.
Well, I mean, in the sense that, because it is that you've got Anubis, which is the jackal, which is
and maybe they did use the word underworld, but it wasn't meaning in a bad way, or that they brought negative energies or anything like that. It's just more grounding energies versus more expansive spiritual energies. And so, although I wouldn't say cats were revered there, but they hold a different kind of energy that are recognized by the Islamic religion. All right. Then I think that was all. Oh, and horses. there weren't as many horses around.
The only place there were a few horses that I saw on our way down to Harara, but the majority of them were really there on the plateau, just taking, either carriage rides or, horseback type of, excursions. But I didn't see many horses. Yeah.
Right. So interesting about the animals, lots of interesting animals. Oh, and then pigeons. They have these.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they have those they were houses that look
aviaries, yeah. So they look like a.
They look like the Jetsons apartment buildings because they're these round things.
It's like a conical shape. I don't know how tall, maybe 12, 15 feet tall. And then you can see there's pegs and holes. And so these are rookeries or whatever, I think, is that the right word? But the little nesting spots for pigeons. And a lot of the country homes out as you get away from the city have these, and they raise pigeons for not only meat, but, to sell and put on the market. So pigeon is a very, I guess, a delicacy there.
Would you call it a delicacy or just a staple?
Or maybe a staple, not a delicacy, a staple.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So you can order pigeon pretty much anywhere. And I think if you watch the Egypt video that I put together on YouTube, you'll see one of the pigeon meals that Abdullah obtained for Allison during one of the lunches that we
I don't know how I ended up being the butt of the pigeon joke.
Because you had a whole thing about the whole pigeon eating them and on the bus one day. Yeah, because I think it was probably one of the belly laugh things. So,
because we were passing the pigeon houses and somebody asked what they were or whatever, and we were just joking about eating pigeons. I don't know why it was funny. And then he just pegged me as, we'll get her a pigeon meal.
It was actually really good. There's for those that know and those that have eaten pigeon, there isn't much meat on a pigeon. So, but they prepare them really nice. It was
very flavorful.
Yeah, they stuff it with a rice mixture on the inside, and then they roast it, and it's really good.
I guess you can make it any kind of which way, but this, the one we had was
roasted with.
It almost looked like, they wrap it up, and it looks like a bird. Yeah. So similar to maybe a Cornish game hen, but it's longer.
Take a chicken and you roast a chicken. It looks like a chicken.
And that's what it tasted like essentially, and the flavor was mostly what they had put on it. It was fine.
It was good.
And if there's that many pigeons, that's good. It feeds a lot of people, I guess. But all right. One thing I mentioned in one of the previous episodes was about shopping. And I mentioned that we went to a nice gold and silver shop. And that the gold wasn't anything like any kind of better value than I would have found in the United States in terms of pricing. However, what I realized after I said that was that all of the things they were selling and the prices that I thought were similar, it was 18 karat gold.
Right.
And typically, I've always searched for 14 karat gold or 10 karat gold here in the States. If you want 18, you kind of seek that out. It's not the norm. At least that's my experience. So I think perhaps then it is a better value because the prices that I thought were similar it was for a higher quality of gold.
Right, higher quality.
So I did want to correct that in case anybody's going and wants to find something in gold.
Right.
That was the case. All right. In terms of channeling, we presented our Egypt trip slideshow down at our friends at Bliss Spiritual Co-op the other day. And one of the questions, which I thought was a great question from our friend Tina, she said, what did the collective say? Like what messages came through for humanity, or what were some important lessons or things that you learned? Thought that was a really good question. Let's think about that. One of the things that we channeled just today, actually, for another friend who was asking about Egypt, was about the Nile. And Will doesn't know this because we haven't talked about it. It was just this morning. Anyway, as you guys know, the Nile is the longest river, right? Until it was dammed up or something.
Is it? I don't know my history.
I think it was the longest river. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments.
The Amazon was the longest.
At any rate, it's really long.
I'll put some notes. Maybe.
Yeah. And it has been dammed up and rerouted and blocked and different things like that, right? And so
it's been dammed mainly or it's been done. They've dammed up the river at Aswan primarily for flood control, because the annual floods would, overreach the banks quite frequently, and you end up.
And that's why they had to relocate some of those. We were talking about that, where they relocated. It was in Jim's session. Some of the, maybe it was Edfu Temple in Aswan. They actually relocated it from one island to another or whatever because of that, because it was either in danger of being flooded or had been flooded or something like that. So yeah, okay, so it's been dammed up and rerouted and whatever for different reasons. And so this particular higher self said, reflect on the Nile, when you spent time on the Nile, and how it flows, and it continues to flow, even though it's been blocked and had impediments. So similar to your life, when you have blocks and impediments, not just in your energy field. So reflect on the time on the Nile and think about the parallels to your own life and where you have been blocked. And they said, most of the time when we talk about blocks, you think of energetic blocks, but I'm talking physical too, they said. Physical blocks also. So what in your life might be causing a physical block? And they said things in your lifestyle. So I took that to mean not only maybe foods and things that you shouldn't eat, or that you could find higher vibrational substitutions for example. Not just that, or not just lifestyle in terms of exercise or yoga or breath work, but anything in your lifestyle. For example, if you've been sedentary for a long time, do you have complications physically because of that? Or if you were hard on your body, for example, we were all in the Army or the Coast Guard or whatever, so you might have physical limitations because of some things that happened lifestyle-wise there, or any other kind of anything, just anything that could be causing a physical block as well. So don't just think in terms of energetic blocks, but also physical blocks. But flow like the Nile is what was said this morning. Continue to flow and recognize any blocks that can be worked on. So that was kind of cool. The other thing, if you want to talk about this, Will, was the Sekhmet energy and the Isis energy. So Isis came through at Hathor's temple. And I remember you saying it felt very heart-centered. And then Sekhmet came through a couple of times, once in Karnak and also in the King's Chamber.
In the King's Chamber,
So talk about the message. Was there an overarching kind of message that you were sensing?
I mean, there was, you bring it up, the heart-centeredness, the expansiveness in that, and also the grounding in it. So there's that, not only do you feel, when you connect into your heart, yes, it's easy to expand way out, but it's also a reminder to remain grounded while you do that, because it's a balance. Everything's a balance. And when we're at these different locations, and whether we have 5 or 10 or 15 minutes to just tap in, or whatever, you can not only do you get the sense of kind of the energy that's there. So say Sekhmet, and Sekhmet was very prevalent throughout, at least my journey, throughout the entire time we were there, from the very first night we were there, and having a dream with Sekhmet in it, and kind of prepping me for the next day, and all of that. And then even in the Isis chapel, you connect with Isis. Well, Isis is the same as Sekhmet, is the same as Hathor. So they're all one. It's just different, I guess, fractals of them, or however they're portrayed in the lineage. But so you get a sense of their energy, and it always begins right in the center of the heart field. I won't say the physical heart, but the heart field, and you can feel your emotions starting to kind of kick in and really draw you back to a point. And that I thought for me was very profound, because I could feel myself kind of going back to that moment, or going back to that era, and not seeing it really, but just feeling it. and then just being able to express that through a few words in the short time that we might have in a particular area. So I mean, it's I know that I see it here on the notes, but one of the locations that we had a chance to actually channel at, besides the Sphinx, Hathor came in and mentioned how important, the grouping was, the number of 10.
That was at the Sphinx.
Was it at the Sphinx?
That one was at the Sphinx.
Oh, was it at the Sphinx? I thought it was the other location. So,
yeah.
but yeah, how important.
And that was, I think Isis and Ra came in first to talk about that.
Yeah.
Keep going, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so they iterated the fact that, here we are a group of 10, which is the number one, if you want to go down into numerology. And then the year of 2026, if you take and do that as numerology, it comes out to 1, right? Instead of 1 year. So you have all these ones. So these are all new beginnings. These are all points of manifesting new. So they really iterated that as far as finding that energy in yourself and manifesting this year as a new year, a beginning, a starting point. Because we just finished and closed out a 9-year, I believe, is that correct? Yes. So we finished out a 9-year, which is closing out, completion. Well, what comes next? Birthing or manifesting new. So that's they iterated that there. So that's right, because that other location, that was more of the grounding energy. That was very deep, ancient energy that we connected to. Had 15, 20 minutes to channel there, and that was a very deep channeling or deep energy, deep Mother Earth energy. And I say Mother Earth because that's the only words I could really put it to, but it's older than that. I say older than that.
I think it was the ancient energy of the origin point.
Yeah, there's so many things you could tie into it, because once I connected with it, it was limitless as far as depth, but it was very grounding and very stable. It was a very stable energy, and it was preparing us for the days to come, which was amazing. So
right, that was neat. And then also at the Sphinx, when they were talking about the one, they related it, of course, to the law of one, Ra, law of one. If you have never heard of that, and it surprises me how many people actually haven't. David Wilcock, I don't follow him a lot, but I know of him, and I generally know what he researches and what he surrounds himself with, and the law of one material is central to the things he talks about, but it was channeled by Ra, and that group is still formed. They created an LLC or a nonprofit in Kentucky, actually,
right,
not far from where Jim Roach is, and he participates in their channelings that still go on now.
LNL Research, right?
LNL Research, the Ra material.
They're the ones that actually came, or a group of within LNL Research is the one that channeled that.
But that material is considered one of the most profound and important channeled works, I think, of our time. I think you would rank that up there with the Seth material, and probably Paul Selig also. However, the Ra material's a bit older. But it is profound. Oh, and also like A Course in Miracles, that I think that was channeled by Jesus, wasn't it? Correct me in the is that the assumption? Correct me in the comments, but that kind of material reminds me of the law of one. But essentially, it's the truth. It's the truth of the universe, the truth of humanity, that we are all one, that it's all one energy, and the number one being so important. So there was a lot of that beginning energy, that new energy, that new year manifesting, all of that. It was really profound that we were there over New Year's, I think.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, we were talking about the balloon ride that we took, and that was on New Year's Day.
New Year's Day, yeah.
So think about what we were doing on New Year's Day. We had a bird's eye view of the ground below. I'm just making this connection now, which is kind of interesting, in a balloon.
Yeah.
So we are aloft. There's something to be said about the metaphor of being aloft.
Right.
In a balloon, right? So bringing ourselves up and our awareness up and seeing the bigger picture, seeing what's really there more clearly, like the eagle.
Right.
So just some cool metaphors and cool information and interesting channelings. And the other one that you were talking about on day one, when we were talking to, I think, the origin energy, they just kept mentioning I should go back and listen to that again, but I remember them saying so many times the profundity of being right there where humanity's origins began. Again, when we came here from Mars as new humans and we were going to populate Earth and create communities and evolve on our own, that's what we were stepping into, that energy on the ground, in the ley lines, seeping into us, held in our DNA. And so when you connect into that, it's like plugging in to the source of your power in your DNA. So it was really neat. So we just also wanted to take a few moments to talk about this next iteration of our trip. We've learned so much, and we're continuing to learn and will learn more as this year goes on. I don't know why I was drawn to go there in the first place, other than what I know now, of course. But in March of last year, when it hit me that we were to take a group, not just, oh, you're going to go, but you're going to take a group. Well, the same thing happened when we were in the airport flying from Cairo to Luxor. And when I looked over at Abdullah, I said, what are you doing in Christmas of 2026? And he said, I don't have a group. I said, well, you do now. I just knew we were supposed to come back again. And I don't know why still, but I do know there's a lot of unfinished business, I guess, or more learning or something that needs to take place for not only us, but of course for the participants that go with us. And so we will be hosting another group. We would love for some of our viewers to come along with us. It's astonishing. It's extraordinary. I don't know how to explain it. Even if you have never really thought or entertained going to the Middle East, like I had not, I just think it's a pilgrimage that every human should consider taking.
I mean, your eyes will be opened and your heart will definitely be expanded. Your consciousness will be expanded. You might even have healing that takes place. So it's a very limitless place. I mean, because there is so much that we don't know. And I think that's the mystique in it, is that we just don't know. We think we know. And then when we take what we've seen and we've learned and watched on YouTube or History Channel or something else, Ancient Aliens, and then you actually are standing there and seeing some of those things, it fills in a few missing pieces. And I think that's the critical, point. And, I'll be the first to say that we're not there to change your mind on any of it. We're learning alongside you. But it's filling a space that's been present. I know it, at least in me. I know several other people on our group. They too filled in a bunch of missing pieces, and so it's finding that connection point. And I think that's, even with all the channeling I've done and all the work I've done, it's always finding that one piece, right? We're always searching that one piece, and each piece puts together a bigger picture. And the Middle East or at least Egypt, for me, it's the Middle East itself, but for Egypt, it really does put together a lot of what I've thought I understood from what I've watched. And now I really see it in a much different way. So, So if you're thinking about it, please join us. It'll be definitely a really great experience, because, again, we'll be providing some alone time channelings and different things like that to assist. And we're also, with this coming year, we're actually going to be putting together a little bit of a course, or a short course, just to prepare your energy for Egypt. That's really what it's about, is preparing your energy, because as we've discussed in some of these other podcasts, the alone time experiences that we talked about, that we had with the Sphinx, well, that price is doubling. And we're trying to make sure that everybody has access, and we don't exclude anybody. So we're trying to keep our prices, reasonable. But never know that again. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. But in the event that it doesn't, we want to prepare everybody's energy by understanding how they connect into their own energy, and then so that way when we do get 5 or 10 minutes at a particular place, or a temple, or a chapel, or some little corner somewhere, we can tap in. All of us can tap in all at once or individually and receive the message that we're there to receive, or have the sensation that we're there to have, or take away something, in our spirit that we're meant to have. So it's just preparing our energies for that. So that's one of the things that we're going to be offering, but we're also going to be offering some guided meditations during the Zoom calls.
Right.
Basically being able to tap into some of the locations that we are going to be going to, so you're familiar with what you're going to see, not all of it, but just a glimpse of it, but having a guided meditation to go there energetically before you even arrive there. So at that, you're imprinting your energy there, so you recognize it when you arrive. So so just different aspects of that.
So a lot of extras on the front end, and on the back end, we always do a channeling with the entire group,
right?
So that you can have a couple of questions answered about what your experience was, or specific things that happened to you while you were there, and get some clarity on that. But in terms of the logistics, we did 6 full days. It was an 8-day trip, 7 nights, if you count travel days.
Right.
And so it was 6 full days of sightseeing, and we crammed a lot in between Cairo and Luxor. And there really weren't any complaints at all. We had a tremendous response and feedback, except that people were kind of tired. But like Abdullah said, you can sleep when you get home, or on the plane home, because you're only there for 6 days, and we want to make sure that you have the time of your life. But this time, because we are incorporating the Nile River cruise for 4 nights, we're starting in Cairo. We're staying there, I believe, 3 full days, and we're going to see everything. Let me think. We're seeing everything that we saw.
For the exception of Hawara, we're swapping Saqqara for Hawara.
But I mean, in Cairo specifically.
Oh yeah, everything's the same.
I think we're seeing everything. Plus, we're going to see the Hanging Church, which is a Christian church that is just gorgeous, from what I understand, and well worth seeing. Yeah.
So Cairo, it'll be the Giza Plateau with the pyramids, and also I think we're trying to work it out to where we may be able to go into more than one of the pyramids. So
2 pyramids on the Giza Plateau, and of course the Sphinx and everything. And then the Grand Egyptian Museum.
Right.
This time in Cairo, we're adding Saqqara, which has the Red Pyramid, I think, and the Bent Pyramid, and cat mummies, and the Imhotep Museum, and all kinds of different things at that necropolis. And then, of course, one of the mosques, one we're not going to see, but the big one, the Alabaster Mosque, we are. And the market, as you said.
And I think the essential oil.
The essential oil place.
Going to see
which is marvelous. We may have forgotten something, but it's all on our website. We'll tell you that location in a minute. And then again, flying down to Luxor, where we will see Karnak, of course, and Luxor Temple, and we're going to board the boat for 4 nights down to Aswan, where we will, again, do everything except for Hawara, and we're not going to do Dendara this time, but we are going to do Abydos this time, the Isis Temple at Philae, Edfu. This is going on memory. Do you see anything on our notes that I'm missing?
Let's see, the Temple of Seti.
I think that's at Abydos.
Let's see here. We've got our notes in front of us, so forgive us if we're not looking right at you. The Valley of the Kings, Temple of the Queens.
And Hatshepsut Temple that we didn't get to see the last time. We get to do that. So because we have 10 nights instead of 7 nights, it's we're squeezing in a lot more, but there's built-in downtime because you're on the boat traveling from point to point. And so you have automatic relaxation built in, which is really nice. I think it gives people a little bit more time to integrate, to ask questions, to sleep, and just to process the experiences of the day.
Yeah, balloon ride also. So that's
the balloon ride is optional, which I highly recommend.
Yep. Yeah, you said Edfu, and then Kumo. I can't say that.
Kamombo.
Thank you.
Kamombo, yeah.
Temple.
So pretty much all of the big sites. We're not going to get down to Abu Simbel because even from Aswan, it's another couple of hours.
3-hour drive. Yeah.
Everybody's been getting up at like 4 a.m. when they're having that as a part, and it's usually an option. And they go down there and they come back, but it's exhausting. But it's well worth it if you have a tour and they're going to do that. I'd really love to do that, but I don't want to add in another thing with 6-hour round trip commute. It's just a lot.
Right, that's one full day. Yeah, 3 hours down, maybe 2 hours there.
But you get it done earlier than one day because you're leaving at 4 a.m.
Right.
But at any rate, that's not included. But you can go ahead.
I was
just going to say, if you go to our website, palmandlotus.com.
Yep.
And just right underneath the header, the banner there, you'll see a link that takes you to a description of everything that's included and everything that we're going to be seeing, the entire itinerary and all of the fine print. But it's going to be fantastic. I'm super excited. And I'm actually more excited this time about learning more. Like for whatever reason, because the Middle East was not my thing, I just didn't feel drawn to study up on it because it's just so much history. But now that I've seen those things and interacted with those energies, I really want to learn more about them.
Right.
And I went knowledgeable.
Right. And I went thinking, well, I've seen it on this documentary. I've seen it on that documentary. And I thought I knew everything. Not knew everything, but knew enough.
Yeah.
No. It is interesting that the amount of information and knowledge that you receive about all of this is so much more. It really, again, it kind of ties a bow on all of the stuff we learn in history and all of that. So that's what's encouraging to me. And now, like Allison said, now that I know, now I do want to dig into these a little bit more. I want to kind of preload myself with a little bit of information so I know really kind of before we get there. I want to kind of know what I'm stepping into from, I'll say, a history standpoint, not necessarily the energy standpoint. I want to have that open so I can tap into that when I get there.
But it's interesting because when you learn the history and we know the spiritual, then you can kind of make sense of it and see how it relates.
Right.
Right, because the spiritual history is a little bit different, or the metaphysical history can be a little different.
The metaphysical history, yeah.
So it's nice to see where it matches up and how it makes sense. Then it makes more sense.
And I will say that since coming back, and I've been listening to a couple different podcasts, I'm not going to name which ones they are, but I find myself getting a bit frustrated at some of the descriptions and pictures that they're putting up. And I'm like, nope, been there. That's not exactly how it is. So it's interesting, the narratives that are played out because many people haven't traveled to Egypt. They haven't seen these things. So, it is interesting to be able to now see it with my own eyes and see it through how somebody's portraying it, which isn't the same. And it's, and they've been there, but they want to create a narrative. So it's fun. It's an interesting thing, but I encourage everyone, whether it's with us or somebody else, just if you feel called, find the right one and definitely go, because it's well worth it. It is definitely well worth it.
And I'll say we are heading out on the 21st. We're leaving on the 20th because the first day is the 21st of December, 2026. We don't have a deadline. However, I think the flights and purchasing your flights is sort of a deadline in itself. So this particular podcast will be out the first week of February. And I would say that if you decide to go, don't delay, because the longer you wait for your flights, the pricier they tend to become, or that you have to look at different options or different connection points or different times. If you want the best time frame, the shortest duration of flight, the best connection points and all of that at the lowest price, you're going to want to book those early. I would say for sure by April.
I would, well.
I mean, if you can book it in February or March, that's going to be the best price. But we booked it in April last year and we got decent prices. The problem is all of a sudden we had booked through Air Maroc.
No, was it Air?
It was Air Maroc round trip. All of a sudden they decided they didn't want to fly on Christmas Day. So they canceled our whole outbound flight. So here we are in June now needing an outbound flight.
And the price went up.
So sometimes that can happen when you purchase too early, but at any rate, we still, by June, we're able to get a decent price on an outbound.
The significant price increase on flights starts to take place around August, September, and that's where it starts to exponentially go up.
Yeah.
And what we found this year, and what we're sharing with people is that East Coast can be a little bit dodgy because of the weather systems that come in through the major hubs of Dulles and JFK. And those are the main, I'll say, hubs that go over to Egypt or over to Europe at least.
And they're the nonstop ones.
And they're going to be the nonstop ones as well. The weather can be a factor. So we're encouraging everyone, if they can find something, say, out of Atlanta, Miami, Charlotte, maybe even Raleigh, because
those two nonstops that go JFK and Dulles over to Cairo, they're very tempting.
Yeah.
But you just never know.
It's a roll of the dice.
If there's a winter storm or something,
we
you just never
had
know.
six of our group, I think, four, I forgot how many it was. I think 5 of our group, leaving out of JFK and Dulles.
Or Philly.
And they had some
luckily
delays.
they were just delayed and not by a whole lot.
Right.
But it was a little iffy there for a moment.
Yep.
But whatever your risk threshold is. At any rate, we're really excited about this upcoming trip. We hope that you will consider joining us. We're very thankful that you all stayed with Out on a Limb podcast and have watched the 6 episodes, right? We appreciate your interest and your comments and all of that. We really do.
Yeah.
We're very grateful.
And kind of going back just a bit, if it isn't something that you're interested in right at the moment, but you have friends that have been talking about going to Egypt, please share our information with them.
Share the series, share our YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up while you're doing that and the notification bell. And I think that's it for now. The next time we see you, we might have a special guest.
Yep.
So thanks again for watching Out on a Limb podcast. Until next time.
Bye.